This awesome predator, the F-16 Fighting Falcon, creates a terrifying image in the eyes of its enemies. Its speed, agility, and maneuverability are unparalleled in the modern world. Armed to dominate, its all-weather weapons delivery system yields pinpoint accuracy, tested and proven, superior in today's combat arena. This masterpiece of aerodynamic engineering is created here at Air Force Plant Number 4, General Dynamics in Fort Worth, Texas. This is Detachment 27 of the Air Force Contract Management Division. AFCMD is headquartered at Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico, and is a component of the Air Force Systems Command. The Air Force Contract Management Division is directly responsible for the administration of all contracts and operation of all plants under Air Force authority. There are a total of 25 Air Force Plant Representative Offices, or AFPROs, located nationwide. We exist at General Dynamics to protect the interest of the government by ensuring that the contractor has indeed fulfilled all of its contractual obligations. By accepting only the highest caliber products, this AFPRO is noted for its mark of excellence. Det 27 is comprised of 8 divisions and 3 staff offices. The commander is responsible for the overall direction and supervision of Det 27. The AFPRO is composed of 24 authorized military members and 251 civilians. The alternate role of the commander is that of Air Force Plant Representative. He has full contract management authority for billions of dollars worth of F-16s, F-111s, and electronic programs. He's also responsible for over $1 billion in government property at the AFPRO. There are 3 staff offices that fall under the direction of the command section. The first being the Staff Judge Advocate. This attorney serves as legal counsel to the commander for over 5,000 contracts worth $20 billion. These include co-production contracts and a variety of aircraft configurations for 15 different countries. The safety managers are responsible for establishing and maintaining an internal Air Force ground and flight safety program. They provide surveillance of GD's flight, explosive and safety system programs, as well as industrial fire and crash rescue procedures. Special emphasis is placed on mishap prevention programs of both the Air Force and General Dynamics. This AFPRO is extremely proud of its outstanding safety record. The AFPRO Aircraft Maintenance Manager ensures that the F-16s and their related support equipment are properly maintained, controlled, operated, and protected by the contractor. This surveillance program is all-encompassing to include the government-provided equipment and facilities and the non-government equipment if it is used to support the aircraft. The Management Support Division is the staff function of Det 27. This division supports the commander and all the components of the AFPRO with planning and admin. Some of the roles accomplished by management support are payroll, leave and earnings statements, documentation library, forms, graphics, reproduction, overtime, parking, manpower, mailroom, visitor control, telephones and Audubon, training in schools, office equipment and problems, temporary duty travel or TDYs, and security and clearances. The Central Civilian Personnel Office is located at Kirtland Air Force Base, where all official employment and pay records are maintained. We have an on-site representative who provides civilian personnel management support. The rep is responsible for recruitment, employee inquiries, counseling, and executive administration of the incentive awards programs. AFPRO procurement personnel are continually involved in negotiating and defining contracts to meet the ever-changing cost, performance, and delivery requirements that come with a dynamic weapon system like the F-16. The Contract Administration Division has 4 branches: contracts, pricing, business management, and contract system support. Contracts centers around the primary task of the administrative contracting officers, who administer the terms of the contracts. Pricing performs pricing and cost analysis and maintains the data bank for recommendations, rates, and factors. The business management branch maintains and uses models for the overhead forward pricing rate agreements. And finally, contract systems support branch provides all administrative support for the division. The combination of these branches pulls together the paperwork necessary to administer contracts in a timely, cost-effective manner. Subcontract management oversees more than 120 major purchase orders, in addition to several thousand smaller contractors. They make sure that parts are delivered to General Dynamics to be assembled into the aircraft. We can see the results of this division's efforts here in the F-16 cockpit. An example of a purchasing item managed by this division is a heads-up display, or HUD, made by the General Electric Avionics Corporation in England. The wide-angle HUD provides the pilot with all flight information and weapons delivery data he needs to focus on the target. Another example is the multifunctional display produced by Sperry Flight Systems in Phoenix, Arizona. The two independent MFDs provide weapon and sensor control in large format displays of air-to-air and air-to-ground radar information, various sensor imagery, weapons stores data, as well as built-in test data. The examples you have seen here are just a few of thousands of subcontracts managed by the division. They work with companies in the United States as well as England, Canada, Belgium, Norway, Denmark, Turkey, Korea, and Israel, just to name a few. This is quite a responsibility, since over 45% of the cost of an F-16 is from subcontracted parts. The primary mission of the Industrial Materiel Division is to manage property that is furnished by the government to General Dynamics. This division assures that aircraft necessities such as canopies, engines, fuel tanks, landing gear, ejection seats, and jet fuel are provided. An example of equipment that has government-furnished property in its operation are the cockpit simulators. The Flight Simulation Laboratory is used to support the research and engineering department in the development of new products and in the enhancement of existing products. Fighter pilots evaluate the performance of the new systems in the simulators to assure the operational capability. The division is also responsible for making sure that General Dynamics properly maintains all 600 acres of the facility, including both buildings and the surrounding land. The technical expertise to interface between the System Program Office and General Dynamics lies within the Engineering Division. Our engineers and logisticians share the challenge of seeing that contracts are converted into usable operational systems. The airframe itself is the concern of the Configuration and Technology branch. An example is the extensive research done on the F-16 canopy. Simulated bird strike tests are conducted to ensure the structural integrity of the canopy, should a bird strike occur in flight. This test also provides research into improved development and design. Most people are not aware that electronic threat simulators are produced here at our plant and are currently in use at locations throughout the world. These simulators are essential to combat readiness. Aircrews must penetrate a dense, hostile, multiple threat environment, including surface-to-air missiles, anti-aircraft artillery, and airborne interceptors. Special emphasis is focused on software development. One example of design development is the notorious systems known as the black box. There are 4 steps in developing software for avionics. First is the development phase. The box is projected to double in complexity and capability by 1990. Next is the lab testing, with avionics being tested first independently, then with other systems. This is followed by the ground test performed in the aircraft. The final test is performed while the aircraft is in flight, checking all systems as actual proof of effectiveness. The Manufacturing Operations Division is responsible for monitoring GD's manufacturing, transportation, and packaging functions. Industrial engineers and specialists track products through the manufacturing process. This division makes sure that the contractor has the facilities, land and buildings, modern technology such as robotics, and other state-of-the-art equipment and people to build the products. Once the contract is awarded, this division ensures that a quality product is delivered in the proper configuration, on time, and at a reasonable agreed-to cost. Today's complex military aircraft must be built to the highest standards of quality and reliability, from initial design to the final assembly. There's no room for error. Random sampling is one method used by the Quality Assurance Division to inspect and test parts and systems to assure quality. Reviews begin with receiving materials in the plant and continue throughout manufacturing, assembly, testing, and acceptance. The Quality Assurance team is dedicated to perfection. This division achieves total involvement in every department and at every level. This division's mission is imperative to the success of the F-16. This is where the aircraft receives its final stamp of approval before being delivered to flight operations. The division having one of the final responsibilities in the F-16 production chain is AFPRO Flight Operations. To perform their mission, the pilots must continually stay informed of aircraft changes and improvements, requiring a very demanding study and continuation training program. They fly the new F-16 and check all of its systems to verify compliance with the contract. Once a new aircraft has been released by the company for an acceptance test flight, the pilot will check as much of the aircraft systems and avionics as is possible while on the ground. This prior to flight testing is so extensive it takes an average of 1 hour to perform. Once the plane has passed all ground checks, the first in-flight check is to ensure proper engine performance. This is performed directly over the runway at 15,000 feet so an immediate landing can be made if any problem develops. Further checks are performed in a special use airspace just north of Fort Worth, flying from altitudes of 30,000 to 50,000 feet, where again the engine is checked, as well as the high altitude performance of the radar. Low altitude testing is then performed in the area of Possum Kingdom Lake, an area about 50 miles west of Fort Worth. There, low altitude tests include aircraft flight control performance and system avionics checks to confirm proper weapons system delivery performance. Although it only takes a few seconds to describe, the entire flight lasts 1.5 hours with every minute devoted to checking one of the many systems. The end result is a team contribution, from material to the factory, from engineering to quality assurance, from contracts to flight ops and everywhere else in between. All of us together become the force. We are the team, the thrust that powers the awesome Fighting Falcon.